The hills of San Diego are alive these days, not with the sound of music, but with the noise of construction crews working on countless condominium projects. However, that noise pales in comparison to the commotion over a quieter method of condo making, conversions. Over the past few years, thousands of apartment tenants have been displaced in the conversion stampede, with thousands more on their way out. What's behind this boom?
It is simply a matter of greed. The average profit per unit after conversion and sale, after all expenses, is between $5,000 and $10,000. It's high profit, it's low investment.
The reason that owners have gone down to get the conversion permits is a fear of two things. One, that they wouldn't be allowed at some point in the future to complete a conversion, and two, the fear of rent control.
That, in essence, is the dispute between those who occupy and those who convert apartments. The former blame the latter, and the latter, circumstances beyond their control. But to Jack Spangler, a La Mesa Adjustments Commissioner who spearheaded that city's conversion ordinance, the landlord's circumstances are less than dire.
Under federal tax laws, they're allowed to take an accelerated depreciation. In other words, during the first 5 years of the life of a complex, they're allowed to write off their entire cost of construction. Then I look around to convert and sell and make another huge profit.
Whether they're inspired by tax breaks, land economics, or the threat of rent control, conversions have opened up a new market for home buyers, and converted units generally are cheaper than those built as condos. But unless it's a relatively new project, there are pitfalls to buying a conversion.
The refrigerators, the washing machines, etc., are about to go. The roofs on the complexes are about to go. The plumbing is about to go. And as a result, the homeowners association, once it's established on the converted unit, is hit suddenly with all these extra charges.
Although landlords aren't required to modify the units when they convert, many do, along with upgrading the grounds. But sometimes the last tenants suffer inconveniences while the changes are taking place.
They were in terrible condition. There's trash laying all over. Construction workers would leave, their shovels and everything just laying any place. Broken cans all over, metal cans. It's just a terrible situation.
But by far the biggest inconvenience in condo conversions is having to move out and find a new place, especially when the rental market is narrowing. Tomorrow we'll see how local government is dealing with the problem and hear from some experts who say the cure may be worse. Gene Cubbison, News 8. It's a lottery whose winners will do the paying off, and the losers some more looking for the jackpot, a roof over their heads. Statistics show that when apartments are converted to condos, fewer than 20% of the people living in them wind up buying them, and only half the buyers wind up living in them.
They're bought by real estate speculators, and this creates a secondary wave of real estate inflation in Southern California.
The resulting crunch has sent cities and the county scurrying for ways to control conversions. In La Mesa, where Spangler rents, the city limits conversions to half the average number of new apartments over the preceding 2 years. In San Diego, landlords who convert are required to give non-buying tenants a whole year to move out, along with 2 months' rent plus an extra $500 for seniors, the handicapped, and low income. Still, more than 17,000 apartment units have been approved for conversion since 1978. Meantime, permits for new apartments this year have fallen to 650, less than 1/8 the number 2 years ago.
Because of high interest rates, it's very difficult to build an apartment today and have it make sense or break even as far as an investor or builder is concerned, whereas the condo market seems to be able to generate some kind of positive cash flow or return to the investor.
At the moment, a task force appointed by the Board of Supervisors is hammering out ordinance proposals for the county unincorporated areas.
When you make property available to the public, with that go certain obligations. You just cannot at will then throw people in or out.
If they decide to fire me tomorrow, all I get is 2 weeks severance or 2 weeks vacation or whatever.
And find a new job. You're a capable man, but you may not be able to find another apartment.
Okay, but well, that's the reason I can't find an apartment, Hans, is because the city officials and the county officials won't allow anybody to build them, for God's sake.
As these arguments go on, the issue has been taken to the streets by way of San Diego's rent control initiative. Proposition O would stop a condo conversion unless the applicant could prove it wouldn't decrease the supply of low and moderate income rentals. But opponents say the measure itself will prompt owners who already have permits for several thousand units to go ahead and convert, and then never build another rental property.
It's not very profitable anymore to build rental units. Rents have remained so relatively low that the other inflationary costs have gone far beyond the increases in rents.
Whatever its origins and solutions, condomania is part and parcel of the overall housing crisis in San Diego, one that seems sure to remain a fact of life.
San Diego is probably the most desirable city in this country to live in, and there's going to be more and more people therefore coming here. Property values have gone up, as we know, home values have gone up, and it's going to make it extremely difficult for the low and moderate income person to find a place to live.
Gene Cubbison, News 8.